Ladies and gentlemen, this just came out in NPR, July 22nd, 2019. Poll: Americans not sold on Trump or Democrats. You know, I hate all politicians. I don't care what side of the aisle they are on. That's irrelevant to me. So when it comes down to politics, when you come to criticize one to me, I don't like any of them. I literally cannot sit and tell you about a single politician that I like. It don't matter what side they're on. To me, they're all shady. And I would have a reason to believe that because the black community have been voting for 54 years and have literally received nothing over that 54-year period from politicians on the left or right. Okay? And some of you may say civil rights and which is stupid because that really was nothing. Yeah, you signed it and then you went undercover and start doing the same things all over again, and you think we don't notice. We've been noticed that. Number two, some of them have the audacity to say welfare as if nobody in the country is on welfare but black people, which is the biggest lie they've been telling all this time. Like I tell y'all, virtually everything these folks say to us is a lie. More whites are on welfare. And if you don't believe it, pull up the welfare fraud articles. You're going to see a sea of white faces all over the place. And how many of us have been in the supermarket and seen white women pull out those EBT cards? I see it all the time. I see it all the time. I used to see them with the food stamps back in the day. You would be in line waiting to pay for your food and somebody would be in front of you whipping out them food stamps, and it sure wasn't no black people. So just understand, virtually everything these folks say to you is a lie. Everything. And Trump is one of those ignorant politicians, and they had to tell him just that. No, Trump, I represent this state, and no, all the welfare recipients are not black. Oh, I thought that. I thought that. It's just pure ignorance. It's pure ignorance. I've even seen Asians in stores with those EBT cards. I've seen Asians, I've seen Hispanics. But if you listen to certain people tell the story, it's nobody but black people. No, nobody but black people. You know, and they got away with that for a long, long time, y'all. I knew they were full of mess. Like I said, I even remember back in the day, before there were EBT cards, people were in line with those food stamps. And I saw white women with them all the time. All the time. And I'm not the only one that's been in the stores and seen that. That's one thing. I mean, I come from a black family. We never been on welfare, ever. Not even once. My father was a United Auto worker for 32 years. My mother worked at a local newspaper in town. We never were on welfare. She worked at the local newspaper for 20 years. So, no, there's many people just like myself that's never touched that stuff. If there was a way we could unite and get our people off of there, we take care of self, I would prefer that. I really would. Back on track, y'all. Politicians have looked the other way as we've been shot by the police, but they'll gladly take our tax money to pay for their salaries. Black people are paying for these schools that we are getting insufficient education in. We are paying the salaries of these local township councils and police officers and police chief. We're paying for all of this stuff and we're getting the raw deal out of the whole thing. And no, that doesn't sit well with me. So why would you come on my channel and act as if I should believe in a system that treats us like that? Oh, no, I'm never going to believe in it. It doesn't matter. You can keep coming and coming and coming. And I promise you, I still won't believe in your system. And you'll just reconfirm what I've been saying about you all this time. That's all you're doing. You don't like it being said, but you're confirming it. So am I surprised that the nation don't feel good about Trump or the Democrats? Hell no. At the end of the day, they're all full of shit. That's the way I see it. All right, I'm going to go ahead and play this audio from NPR.
A new poll from NPR, PBS NewsHour, and Marist finds that overall, independent voters are not impressed with the direction that either party wants to take this country. And that is important ahead of the 2020 election. NPR's lead political editor, Domenico Montanaro, is here in the studio for more on this poll. Hi, Domenico.
Hey there, Ari.
What does this poll tell us about the president and his chances at re-election, given that we're still more than a year out from that election?
I mean, they're not great. His approval is at 44%. It's the highest, actually, in Marist's polling over the last 2.5 years since he became president, but it's kind of mediocre.
It's remarkable he's never broken 50% in these
never.
polls.
He's been pretty standard, but in the mid to high 30s to the low to mid 40s. And a lot of the improvement is because of the economy. We have a majority of people approving of his handling of it, 2/3 of people saying that it's working well for them personally, and yet there's this disconnect between his mediocre approval rating and you've got 54% of people saying they definitely will not vote for him in 2020.
Such an unusual gap between satisfaction with the economy and dissatisfaction with the man in the White House. Is that necessarily good news for Democrats?
In theory, it is, except in reality, realize 54% of people didn't vote for Donald Trump for election in 2016 as it is. Only 46% of people voted for him then. And people are not quite sure what to make of the Democratic primary at this point and the policies they're putting forward. They're split, they say, on Democrats and the direction that they would take the country, whether it's the right direction or the wrong direction. And by the way, independents think Democrats would take it in the wrong direction so far. A plurality are saying that.
With so many Democrats in the running right now, there are a lot of different policy proposals out there, and I know this poll asked about a bunch of them. What were some of the things that were widely popular and a couple of things that were not?
Yeah, we asked about almost 24 things, 20 things, and let's just start with what they like. Medicare for all as an option to private health insurance is supported by 70% of independent voters.
That would be without eliminating privately run health insurance.
Correct, but when you do that as an option when you do it to replace private health insurance, that plummets to 39% support with independents and 41% overall. Government regulation of prescription drug prices, there, 2/3 of independents like that. Providing a pathway to citizenship for millions of immigrants in the United States illegally, 67% of independents are on board there. As far as what they don't like, though, making health insurance available to those in the country illegally, decriminalizing those border crossings, reparations for slavery, and a universal basic income of $1,000 a month per person to combat automation. All those are very unpopular, and all those are things that have gotten lots of attention on the Democratic campaign trail.
Well, according to this poll, which party seems to be more in line with what independents want, Democrats or Republicans?
Well, it's not at all clear because there are lots of things that that independents like about Democrats and lots of things they don't like about what Democrats are putting forward, but also things they don't like that Republicans would want to do. Take, for example, wanting to repeal Obamacare. Independents not in support of that. They think that's a bad idea to repeal it. And 55% of independents want a ban on assault-style weapons. That's a position unpopular with most Republicans. A majority of independents also support a $15 federal minimum wage, something just a quarter of Republicans say they can get behind.
Sounds like the country is still very divided. Briefly, any areas of agreement?
When you look at whether there should be background checks, almost 90% of people are in favor of background checks, for stricter background checks for gun purchases.
NPR's Domenico Montanaro, thank you very much.
You're so welcome.
Okay.
And now, more from NPR.
I'm not surprised. The country is still very divided. Either party, to me, don't have the best interests of the country at all. It is all about which corporations and which group of people are paying them the most money. And that's how it's always run. These politicians don't do what we want because they are bought and paid for, y'all. They are bought and paid for. And that's why you never see the Congressional Black Caucus supporting Black people. They are bought and paid for by people that don't look like them. And that's why they continue to support everything and everyone except for the group they should be representing. I don't like the Congressional Black Caucus either. Okay. See, I think some people think, oh, she probably likes this group and that. No, I literally do not like politicians. I literally don't like any of them. Until, just like the color purple, until they do right by us, nothing will go right for them. Just like in the color purple. So, ladies and gentlemen, please tell me what you think. I think this country had the potential of really being something special if they would have gone in there and just done the right thing. But politicians in America will never, ever do the right thing, especially when it comes down to us. And for that reason, I can't support any of them. I can't. But please tell me what you think, ladies and gentlemen. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell. And I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.